Welcome back, Naughty Knitters. You have found your way to the French Knot. I'm Tanya. I'm your host. I'm coming to you from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where I live with Mr. Knot and our 3 French bulldogs. So if you hear a little snoring, that's what it is. If this is your first time, I just want to give you a big old welcome. Thank you for being here. If you've come back, I want to especially thank you. Guys, we have reached 5,000 subscribers. That is a huge landmark. That is something I just want to be able to celebrate with you. So stay tuned. Next, episode number 34, we're going to have some special prizes in honor of reaching the 5,000 subscribers. So hit the like and subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you know when that pops up. So for today, we have finished objects, we have whips, we have spinning, we have future plans. We're going to talk more about the spring solstice cowl. And if that sounds like just your cup of tea, grab a cup of coffee, grab your knitting, cuddle up with your favorite fur friend, and let's dive in. Let's talk about what I'm wearing today. I am wearing the Hey Sailor by Andrea Mowry. It is a reversible cardigan design. It's knit up in Figi fingering by Knitting McPurley, and the colorway is Jovis is the beigey cream color, and then the peachy color is Roxette. I'm wearing it with my cute little bibs from, I think it's called Free Bird Nest. Let's see if I can show these off a little for you. Whoa, without falling. I probably can't show it very well, but you kind of get the idea. They're just a really baggy, fun, loose pair of bibs that are just so comfortable right now. And then I have this cute little necklace that I got from Knitting McPurley as well. So if you'll notice, it has little stitch markers on it. Isn't that cute? I just love that. So that's what I'm wearing. So today, guys, we're going to start out with finished objects because we have a few to go over. The first one I'm going to go over with you, it was kind of a surprise. You probably don't even know that it was on my needles. There was a test call by AKA Nora Knits for a pattern that she put out called the ISO Scarf. And I applied for it and she accepted my application. And so I picked out some stash yarn that I had, knitting for Olive Merino in the colorway Pink Daisies. We had an option to either knit the shallow or the deep version. I chose the shallow version because I want some neck scarves for spring. This is a really cool pattern because there's no gauge. So you can use any yarn, any needle size, and then the pattern just accommodates that. It's really cool. So I chose, like I said, the fingering weight knitting for Olive Merino in Pink Daisies. I used a US 2.5 needle. And look at this, you guys. Look how cute she is. So I just want to show you. So the unique feature of this comes in the scallop right here, which is where she puts the increases and decreases. It's a really, really unique way to do that. I hope that is showing up because it's such a sweet little design. That's basically what it is right there. I'll put some pictures of me wearing it, but it is such a cute little, just throw it on scarf. It just adds a little pop of color to whatever you're wearing, and I think it's just fantastic. So yeah, that was fast. We got it done, and that's finished object number 1. But look how cute she is. Obviously it doesn't go with this outfit that I'm wearing today. So finished object number 2 was well, let's talk a little bit about the history on this one. So a month or so ago, I went to North Dakota with the granddaughters and we started spinning. So 3 of my granddaughters and I spun up 3 singles. They were all 2 Springs Fiber Arts in Falkland. And the purple was called Purple Pop. It's like a purple and pink blend. And then we have the green and yellow one was Joyful Greetings. And then the peachy kind of pink one was just peachy. And so we took those 3 and applied them together. And here's what I have left of that. I'll show you right here. So we got about 440 yards. And so I thought it'd be fun if I made something for each of the granddaughters out of this. And then maybe I'd have enough left over to make one for myself too. That's to be seen. So far, here's what we have done. The project I decided to do with this yarn was a Creativity Cowl by Tori. this is the cowl that is, again, it's a any weight, any gauge kind of pattern. And so you kind of go by measurements, and it's a little loose how you do it. Now, I figured this was probably between DK and worsted. So the first one I did, I knitted up as a DK. And so I had some DK in stash, and it was unlabeled, but it looked pretty with it. So here's what we did. So it's kind of a bandana style. You see that? So it has a seam up the back. It's kind of hard to show. There you go. So it has that seam up the back. And then you wear it like so, and then this all gets scrunched up, and it's super cute. It's a little small for my head, about an inch too small. Yeah, I can fit it over, but it's tight. Because I made it in the youth size. It's just a little small for my head. That uses about 90 yards of the Handspun. Hopefully we're going to have enough to do, I think I have around 440 yards, so that might mean I have enough for all of us to have one. We'll see. So that's the first one I did. And that's done. It's blocked. It's ready to go. I just love those colors. I think it turned out really cute. That's the first one. And then based on what I learned from this one, I cast on the second one. And this one I used a little darker purple because I want them all to be able to tell which one is theirs. And this is definitely more vibrant. This one has not been blocked yet. We're going to block this one together. So you can definitely see the difference in the vibrancy of this one. But isn't that pretty? And those colors will pop more after I get it blocked. But it's really pretty. I think she's going to love that. And then here's the back where it's, yeah, really fun. So that's, I wish those colors would show up better. I don't know why I can't get the colors to show as good on screen. I don't know. It must be something, I think it's something in the settings, and I am not camera literate. I'm barely functional. All right, here we are, all ready to block the little cowl. So all we do is we get some hot water. I have a special little bowl that I like to use for small objects. And I have a little wool wash that I use from Sorella. It's very yummy. You don't necessarily want to agitate it, but just kind of make sure that it's all in there and that the air bubbles are out. That's the big thing. It is superwash, so it's not going to felt. But the Handspun is not, so you gotta be a little bit careful. All right. And then I'm gonna let that set for about 20 minutes, and then we're gonna come back and finish. All right, we are back. Now it's time to take this out of the water and get it on the mats. Oh, so just, all I do is squeeze it out gently. I don't wring it, and I don't even use a towel. I will show you what I do. So I got most of the water out like that. Okay. So I'm going to show you how we use the Panda to expedite the blocking process. All right, you ready? All right, so right there is the Panda. So what we do is you just open her up, and it has this little drain thing that you take out. Now, you take your item that's you're going to block, and you put it in here, and I spread it out a little bit. Then I put this on top. And now the idea is that we're going to centrifuge out a lot of the water. So let me close this up. And then here's the drain spout. Guys, get out of the way. So that's why I have this tub. I put that right under the drain spout. Make sure that the bowl is under the spout. Then you turn it on like so. And kind of hang on a little bit because it gets a little bouncy as it gets balanced. And then you'll see, even though I wrang it out pretty good, there's still a lot of water coming out here. So you can still see. You can still see that water coming out right there. And look at all of that water. Then to turn it off, you just flip the handle, click right here, and then lift up. Now look at all the water that was in there. That was a lot of water. I keep that there for some drips, in case it drips. And then lift out this plastic piece, and then underneath is my it's barely damp cowl. So it still needs to block, but it's going to cut that time down so dramatically. Now what I do is I have some fans to create a little wind tunnel here. So there is a cowl, and then I have the two fans just kind of blowing air right on it. So it's gonna dry super fast. So that's number 2. And we're gonna block that today together. So we'll get to do this together, that'll be fun. And now the third one, what I've thought about doing is I have this leftover from Miss Babs in their Yowza base. Sparkling Sand, I believe, is the colorway. So it has some speckles in it. And then I think together that'll be pretty. I really hope so. So this one, I've learned a little bit between those two. And so I think I'm going to go with one size larger on the needle on this one and go strictly by measurement and not by repeats. Because I'm running, I think, a little bit low on yardage. Because I really want us each to have one. This next little one is the smallest one. She's tiny. She's so tiny. But she also has the biggest head. So I do have to make it wide enough to accommodate her head, which is why I think if I go with a little bit larger needle, it'll give us a little looser gauge, which will give me a little bit more stretch when I'm blocking it. I don't know. I'm not sure. I just want to be sure. I mean, if I don't have enough to make myself one, that's fine, I guess. But it would be really fun. I think it'd be really special. So next is going to be that cast on. So that's that. Now I did bring fiber with me last time I was in North Dakota. And my other granddaughter, she was the last one to learn to spin. And I started this. This is a fractal spin, meaning instead of combining 2 different fibers, you take the braid, you split it in half, and then one of those halves you take and split that into 4, and you spin that up end to end, and then you spin up the other half just as it is, and then you ply those 2 singles together. And that's called a fractal. So that's what this is. So that's very beautiful and very subtle. She is a picky one, and so we are trying to figure out what color to put with this. She said she wants a purpley pink. Or no, it wasn't purpley pink. So she wants, she described it, is she wants Vikings purple, but a little more pink. What does that even mean? So I thought maybe that. Does that seem like a little bit more, a Vikings purple, but a little more pink? I don't know. But those look good together, right? So I think that's what I'm going to do. That's kind of my thought right now. Let me know what you think. This was one of those seconds that I got in the mystery bag from Spincycle last Christmas. Isn't that a fun colorway? So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Let me know what you guys think of that with that. So for now, that's the plan. Unless you tell me otherwise. All right, and then, so that's 3 finished objects we got, and then plus the spinning. And I got one more spinning project to show you that I've done. So this one was probably one of my tougher spins for a couple reasons. Number one, it was kind of boring because it's all white. This is from Paradise Fibers. It's like half Polwarth, half viscose. So it's a plant-based mixed with Polwarth. And look how drapey that is. Like it is, I mean, I wish you could appreciate, I can't quite mimic how drapey it is, but I think this would make a fantastic garment. And it's probably about a sport weight, between a fingering and a sport. So I have about 700 yards of it, about 760, I think. So it's just so it's 8 ounces, 760 yards. I did have some waste, but I would have to think that I'm probably just a little bit heavier than, probably heavy fingering, based on my guesses. But I really need some suggestions for what to knit with this. So one of the projects I was thinking that might be appropriate for this, it's called Luna Tea, and that is by Carissa. It's a really, really cute little t-shirt that has a kind of a broken rib pattern in it, it looks like. Raglan shaping. I think it'd be a really simple one, but I think the drape might be nice. I don't know, but I kind of want your guys' input on it before I start anything. It's a little bit shiny. It's very drapey, and I only have about 700 yards. So give me some suggestions. What do you think that should become? Let me know. And that's kind of it for finished objects, I think. Yeah. We got some finished spins. We've got a lot of scarves. I mean, I got a lot of scarves done. Scarves and cowls. I'm very excited for them. I think the girls are just going to love that we have matching cowls and that they help make them. I think that's going to be super special. So I'm excited about that. Next up, I want to talk about works in progress. So the first whip we're going to talk about is the Comfort Core Sock by Summer Lee. Now, I used the Farmer Daughter Fibers April Sock Squad. That's their monthly sock club where you get one skein of yarn and one mini. It's only $28. So basically, you're just paying for the sock yarn and then you get the mini for free. So that's a really good deal. This month, we are using, this is a Highwood sock, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and it's in the colorway Morning Honey, which is this beautiful yellow with some little green specks in it. Now, it is a pretty yellow. However, I'm not a big yellow person. Like, it's not in my color wheel. Like it's just not a good color for me. So, but it's my son's birthday in April, and he is a Green Bay Packer fan. And I thought, oh my gosh, with these little green flecks, how perfect would it be to pair it with some green. I found some green sock yarn in my stash, and I just added a couple little stripes into this Comfort Core sock of Summer Lee's. Isn't that cute? And so that's going to be his birthday present. Now this is one of my favorite sock patterns all time for fit. So she has a couple different options on how you can do the leg part of it, the ankle. For him, I'm choosing a long leg on it. And then of course I did my famous fish lip kiss heel on it because it just turns out so beautiful. And then on the top, she has you do a seed stitch basically with a stockinette stitch on the bottom to mimic that athletic sock. And then it has a Comfort Core band around here to kind of snug up that fit. And then you go back into the seed stitch with the stockinette stitch, and then you just put on that little toe at the end, and you've got a sock. And so his birthday, it was April 30th, so we've missed it. We're going to get together, I think, hoping this weekend to give him this. I want this off my needle so bad, you guys. I want it off my needle so bad because knitting up a Green Bay Packer sock for me is so painful because I am a Vikings fan. And I don't know what happened to my son. I must have dropped him or something because he is definitely not a Vikings fan. He's the only one in the family that's not. He's a Green Bay Packer fan. I think he's doing it just to annoy us sometimes. Anyway, I love him dearly. I'm just kidding. But I would have been done with this sock a couple days ago, but I don't know what happened. I was knitting along and I'm like, this feels loose. And I'm like, is my other sock that loose? I don't know what happened, but my gauge changed between socks significantly. And so when I put them against each other, there was about 1/4 of an inch difference, where the second one was about 1/4 of an inch bigger. And I was like, oh my God. And I don't know, I probably could have left it, but it was making me crazy. and he's a little bit on the spectrum, very mild, but he does have some tactile things that bother him, and I wasn't sure if this would, but I wasn't willing to take the chance. So I ripped out, like, I was to here. I was like here on this sock, and I ripped back to the heel, basically. So I was here, and I ripped back to here. And so I've gotten a little bit more done, but I just want to be done with it, you guys. So after I record this today, I'm going to go into sock purgatory, listen to some videos, zone out, and try to get this sock done because I really want it off the needles. I love the pattern. Not a fan of the packers. He'll appreciate it, and that's what matters, right? He will love it. And then hopefully we get together this weekend and I can give him his birthday present and he will appreciate it and I'll never have to think about it again. And what I'll do is I'll probably just take pictures of it to show you because I probably don't want to talk about these again unless for some unforeseen reason I don't finish them this week. And you have to hear it again next time. We'll see. But the goal is to have it off the needles before we talk again. All right. So that is the Comfort Core Sock by Summerlee. All right. And you know, I'm in my era of small scarves. We've talked about this. And so when I was at one of my knitting groups last month, the owner of Paradise Fibers and a couple other gals were knitting the Sophie scarf. Now, I have to be different, right? I can't just do what they do. And so I thought to myself, you know, I've knit up the Alex scarf before in the larger size for a friend as a gift, but I've never knit up the small one. And I really enjoyed that knit. I enjoyed how it turned out. I enjoyed the rhythm of it. And so I'm like, I'm going to do that one. And so I picked out some yarn. The one that I picked was the La Vienna Maed that they have in the merino single in the colorway Floro Morganite, I believe is what it's called. It's 100% superwash merino. It's way brighter than it's showing up here. I just can't get the colors right. But it's super pretty. The pattern is by Pernielle Larsen for the Alex scarf. And she recommends a US 2.5 needle. And so that's what I've used. And I just wanted to show you guys. I had a couple of people ask me about my stitch stoppers. And here's what I use. So it's just one of these. It's actually meant for barber cord to hold those on, but I also use them for knitting needles. And so you just squeeze, see that spring in there? So you squeeze that, you put in your tips, like so, and then let it go, and it really holds them pretty secure. Definitely more secure than the rubber ones. They're not super cute, but they are super useful. Anyway, I just thought I'd point that out. So let's get back to the scarf. So this one, it starts out tiny, and you incorporate an I-cord as you go on the edge. And every few rows, you're doing increases, and then you're working in a 2x2 pattern. So it has a nice flow, but you're not just doing knit the whole time. So it has a little bit of interest. Now, I've gotten a lot done. I actually took this with me to the movies. So back up. In the Discord group, we have a channel where we talk about what we're reading and shows to watch. And one of our lovely viewers was reading Project Hail Mary with her son in preparation to go to the movie. And guys, I am so living under a rock, I hadn't even heard of it. I didn't even look at what it was about. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a good plan. And so I put it on my Audible. And you guys, you've got to listen to that book. I know this is not a book podcast, but it's such a good book. I think this is better on Audible. The voices, the narrator was so good. So many times I was laughing out loud. And I don't laugh out loud. It's not easy to make me laugh out loud. But guys, Rocky is hysterical. And I'm not going to spoil it for you. But I'm just going to say, you're going to laugh when he says, fist my bump. I'm sorry. He is hilarious. Now, that being said, I told Mr. Now we need to go and see Project Hail Mary at the movie theaters. And so I got this project to a point where I could knit on it, and that's what I knit at the movie theaters. So that was a lot of preface about that, but it was just, I thought it was a fun story. So But look how much I've got done. So I think I'm getting really close. So if you put this on, let's see, I need about that much to tie. And so I probably have about 4 or 5 inches left before I start the decreases. And then I'll have my beautiful Alex scarf. And this is so much fun, you guys. The colors on this, so much fun. Can you imagine it with a little white button up and white shorts or white jeans? I think it would just be so cute. So that is the Alex scarf by Pernielle Larsen. All right, guys. So my next whip, it's been on the needles for a while, I know, but it's just one that I can't work on when I've got anything else going on. It has to be like a sit down and focus kind of project, so you have to forgive me. It's just taking longer than expected. It is the Stromboli by Caitlin Hunter, and it is gorgeous. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. It's beautifully written. Everything about it is great. It's just me. I have to focus when I do it. So the Stromboli is part of her Knitily series, which was inspired and named for places in Italy. And her dream is to one day visit all the places in this series. Now, the Stromboli is an island near Sicily and the home of an active volcano. So that's where the name comes from. Now, she recommends knitting it up with a light fingering weight yarn. And I am knitting it up with Yakkity Yak by Ravelry yarn in the colorway Green Sour Apple Jolly Rancher. And it is 70% superwash merino, 20% yak, and 10% nylon. It's a 3-ply yarn that is so delicious to work with. It's not showing up as beautifully as I hoped. I mean, nothing does on camera, right? But I am knitting this up as a sample for Stacy, who is the owner of River Rat Yarns, because she wants to show off her yarn. And I will have to say, this yarn knits up these cables so beautifully, and this texture so beautifully, that I can see why she wanted a sample knit in it. Look at how beautiful that stitch definition is. Ah, I just love it so much. So here's where we are. We started at the hem. It's bottom up. And so I started with the tubular cast on, which was not called for. You can just do a regular cast on. I just like to do tubular whenever I can. And that was a story too. If you don't remember, I think it's 242 stitches you have to cast on. And I got it all cast on. The stitch count was right. Everything was going beautifully. I did my first setup row, did my second setup row, started the ribbing. Got halfway through the first round of ribbing, and the cord came apart from the needle. So that came separated. And not, I mean, all the way off. It just pop. Oh, gosh. Usually I feel it kind of catching. I didn't feel it catching. And anyway, I lost a stitch or two. Couldn't recover them and make it look decent. So what I did, I started over. there was no recovery. Started over. So, and then you do, like I said, you just do the ribbing, and it turned out beautifully. That yarn is just so wonderful. And then you start working the pattern. Now, this is actually the front. We'll start with the front. Now you work, she said 8 repeats. And that would have been pretty short for me, because Stacy is going to, once she's done with the sample, she said she's going to let me have it back. So I'm making it to fit me. But that being said, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 repeats right there. So I would have stopped right there. So that's pretty short from there to there. And so, I know that when I block, it's going to grow a little bit, but that wouldn't have been enough. So I added 2 more repeats to it before I split for sleeves. I've now split for sleeves, and I'm working on the back. So the front is on hold, and we're working on the back. And we just stay in pattern, and it's actually going quicker now. Something about working lace back and forth for me is actually quicker than in the round. I don't know why, but anyway, it's going quicker. There's just a little bit of shaping in the back for the neck. Most of the shaping is going to be when we get to the front, and that'll probably be more complicated then. And then you join the shoulders, pick up stitches for the neck, and then you pick up stitches for the sleeves, which you can make them as long as you want. She has some versions that are all the way down. They're beautiful. And then she has some that are like about this length. I think I'll do the one that's about this length. I don't like the ones that are in between. Not for me, anyway. Either short or long. Stacy sent me enough yarn that I could do either. So it'll be a game day decision, but my guess is I'm just going to do short because I feel like with this lace top, you're going to wear it more in the summer, and short sleeves make more sense. But guys, isn't that a beautiful pattern that Caitlin came up with? I just love that lace. I just love it so much. It is so pretty. I wish you could feel it. It is so unbelievable. So unbelievably soft. It's, yeah, it is gorgeous. Gorgeous. I'm knitting this in a size 1, which gives you a 44-inch finished circumference, and I'm knitting it on a US 3, and the ribbing's in a US 2. But that is the Stromboli by Caitlin Hunter. No guarantees this is going to be done anytime soon. I want to get it done. My hope is by the end of May. So I'm hoping on the next trip to North Dakota. That'll be the last time you see it. So our next work in progress, I pulled the Great Gingham Raglan out of hibernation. This is a pattern by Jessie Maed Designs, and I started it last fall. And I put it away when I started the 12 Days of Knitmas, and I just never took it back out. But now I feel like I missed the season. Like, I'm a little disappointed in myself. I should have taken it out a little sooner because it would have been a great spring piece. And I know what you're thinking. Tanya, it's still spring. Well, in Idaho, it's not. We went straight from winter to summer. I mean, it's been over 70 and sunny. This never happens. I have been in Idaho for 27 years. Never do I remember a spring this beautiful. Never. We are having unquestionably warmer, drier, sunnier than I ever remember. And I'm not complaining. But it does kind of bum me out that I'm not going to be able to probably wear this much until next year. And to me, I mean, it could work for fall, but it seemed like more of a late winter, early spring. But we'll see. So let's get to it. Let's talk about what it's knit up in. So we have the main color is Ritual Dyes Sprite, which is their sport weight merino in the colorway Jewelweed. And I just love that color. I mean, it's probably not my best color, but I do love it. And then for the Spincycle, the color changing yarn, I am using, I'll show you what I have left of one of these skeins. It's the Verva Volant colorway. Oh, look at that. Very light colors, very contrasty, right? Like, I wouldn't have thought to put those together, but it is the exact colorways that Jessie Maed used. So I thought, why mess with perfection? She has nailed it. Now this is knit up on a US 6 with a 22 stitch gauge, and I'm knitting it up in a size 2, which is going to give me roughly a 40-inch circumference. And she recommends a 3.5 to 8.5 inches of positive ease, and so I think it's going to be perfect. Look at that. Okay, so let's back up. So this is a bottom-up raglan. So you start with the sleeves. You start with knitting the twisted rib cuff. You do a row of rapid increases, and then you're into the pattern. And there's just a straight tube all the way up. So I'm going to show it to you on, because I'm just that dorky. Look at that. Look at her. Isn't she? Oh my God, I'm so excited. I just think that's going to be so dang cute. Okay. So there's sleeve number 1. And here's sleeve number 2. Show you. There you go. There's my sleeves. And so then you put those on hold. And then you start the body. And here's the body. Now, I am going to knit a little extra length than what she recommends because hers is pretty cropped and I have a long waist. So I probably have 2 more repeats, and each repeat is about 10 rows. So that much is a repeat right there. And so I probably have that much more to put on. But isn't that fantastic? And then when you get to that point, you add the sleeves in to the sweater, and then you start doing raglan decreases for the shaping. Oh my God, it is so cute. I just love that contrast between the Spincycle and the Ritual Dyes, the main color, the Jewelweed. It's just so perfect. It gives it such a cool twist to just a regular gingham pattern. Love it. So far, I am loving her instructions. She is as clear as, I mean, crystal clear. I didn't mention the ribbing on this is also twisted rib, which gives it, you know, twisted rib is less stretchy, but it holds up better structurally. So that's my understanding of it. But it looks a little bit more refined too, I think. It is pretty. It is pretty. So, yeah, we are making some progress on that one because I think once we get to the decreases, I think it's going to start to fly. I'm looking at her pattern right now, and she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's only about 4 or 5 repeats after you get the sleeves on. So I'm going to do some measurements tonight after I finish this repeat and kind of figure out how much more I need to make it appropriate. We're getting close. I mean, I might not need a full repeat. We'll see. We will see. We're getting close. But I think that could actually be off the needles next time we talk. The one thing I will say about it is because it's knit up on a bigger needle, it is a really nice reprieve from those socks that I'm trying to knit so tightly now because I messed up before. And so I will go and just work on this for a while because it's just not a lot of thinking and just a nice, comfortable gauge to work on. So that's the Great Gingham Raglan by Jessie Maed Designs. We've done finished objects. We've done whips. We've even done some future plans. But what we haven't done is acquisitions. And this has been a ridiculous couple weeks for acquisitions. You know, what happens to me is I'll go through a little phase where I order a few things one week and then the next week and then the next week. And then I won't order for a while, but also things are taking a while to show up. And so it just doesn't feel like you've ordered anything. And then all of a sudden one day, your mailbox is full. And that's kind of what happened to me. Some of these things, this is embarrassing. I actually forgot I ordered. So I went to Flock Fiber Festival last year, and I did learn to spin a little bit on a spindle. The owner, I think her name is Jessie, at Witchfire Fibers. And so I went to her booth to get some fiber after the class, and she was sold out. And I was kind of bummed. And I was like, well, I'll finish up what I have because she gave us a little bit of fiber to work with. And then if I like it, I'll order more. Well, spinning totally went off my radar because spinning on a spindle is not my favorite thing to do. I have to be honest. But when I got my e-spinner in December, I was like, oh, I need to see if she has some fiber for sale. And she did. And I don't know if it was a pre-order that I got into. I don't know what happened, but no fiber came. And I watched it on my shop app for a long time, and then I kind of lost track and forgot about it. Well, it finally showed up. And oh my gosh, it is gorgeous. So this is Witchfire Fibers. It's a Rambouillet. I got 3 braids in the colorway Rattle the Stars. Look how pretty that is. Oh my God. So I got 3 braids of that. They're 4 ounces each. Now, what I will say is as gorgeous as it is, there's not a lot of contrast in it. So I might be better off using this as like a combo spin. Like I could really see this blended with some, like a bright pink, you know, or plied with something with a bright pink and maybe a coral even. I don't know. I haven't decided, but isn't that a pretty colorway? Let me know what you guys think. If you would do a combo spin with something else, or if you would just do a fractal spin and just ply it on itself. Let me know what you think. This is such a beautiful fiber. I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to ruin it. It's so pretty. So that's the Witchfire Fibers, and it's Rambouillet in the colorway Rattle the Stars. Now next up, I know exactly when it was ordered, and I was waiting for it. So a while ago, long time ago, well, I guess it's not that long. I've only been knitting for 2.5 years, but early on in my knitting career, I saw the Leith cardigan by Rebecca Clow of the Crayabea. And it was her Intarsia version, which incidentally is on my bingo card this year. And it was in these beautiful pinks and greens, which I am a sucker for pink, guys. You give me pink and a grungy green and I am all over it. That's what she had it knit up in. And I was in love with it. And I went to find the fiber and it showed that Explorer Knits and Fibers had released that colorway, but it was a limited edition and it was no longer available. And so I was kind of sad about it. I talked to a couple gals in my knitting group. Hi, Johnny. And she knew that I was looking for it. And so when Explorer Knits and Fibers sent out an email saying that they were going to re-release the Wicked series, which is what these colors were from, she got the email and she let me know. She told me right away. And she's like, Tanya, did you get the email from Allie at Explorer Knits and Fibers? And I'm like, no. And she's like, I'll send it to you. And so she did, and it was a notification that they were doing a pre-order on Super Bowl Sunday at 6 p.m. local time. And I was on it. I set my alarm. I was like, I'm not going to forget this. With a pre-order, they just make however many I ordered, but I just didn't want to forget. So, on to the good part. So it comes with 2 different greens and 2 different pinks. It's in their Carlsted worsted base. And this is the colorway Your Life Could End Up Changing. Isn't that a gorgeous pink? Ah. And then the other pink is That's What Makes Me So Nice. So it's kind of got a little lavender tint to it, but how gorgeous is that? Okay. And then we've got My Future is Unlimited. So we got those 3 colors. And then Don't Lose Sight of Who You Are. That green. So, but how it is in the pattern is these 2 are paired together, I believe, and then these 2 are paired together. How fantastic is that going to be? I'll pop up a picture of the cardigan I'm going to make, but that's going to cover my bingo card for Intarsia. And I am so excited. So excited. But I'm making myself hold off on casting anything else on until my sun socks are done, the gray gingham raglan is done, and I'm at least on the sleeves on the Stromboli. Do you think I can do it? I don't know. I'm going to try really hard. There's so many things right now that I want to cast on, you guys. So I'm doing a pattern roundup for April of all the April releases. And I don't know if I should do those anymore because it just makes me want to knit all the things. And I've got a huge queue back here begging me to knit it. And I just, oh my God, it's so hard. It is so hard. Who knew that knitting was going to be such a hard hobby? Anyway, so that is for the Leith cardigan by the Grey Bear. All right, so I also got the Farmer Daughter Fibers Fiber of the Month came for the Sock Squad. And it is, let's see, what is the base? Guys, excuse my glasses. They're going to glare and they're going to look ridiculous for a second. It is the May 2026 Sock Squad. And the fiber is Bighorn sock, 75%, and 25% nylon. That Bighorn sock is a 19.5 micron count. It is so soft. It is so delicious. It is so everything. The colorway is New Leaf, and look how gorgeous that is. Do you see the variation in the colorway? I am so in love with this. And right away when I saw it, I thought this deserves something like a lace or something delicate or dainty. Well, when I was going through new patterns for April, I don't talk about socks in the roundup, but a pair of socks did pop up in the April releases. And it was called the Farmstand sock. And I'll pop up a picture here. It is so cute, you guys. It's by Laura Menendez, and I think it was going to be gorgeous with this color right here. And what I'm going to do is for the little flowers, I haven't decided if I'm going to do a pink or a white. I need some suggestions. What do you think, pink or white? I think either would be lovely. I'm kind of leaning toward pink, but white would probably be more versatile. Let me know what you think. But aren't those cute? Now, it does look like there's a bunch of reverse stockinette in it. And at first I was like, oh, I don't know. It has a lot of purling. But you know what? That's how bad I want these socks. That I am willing to do reverse stockinette for nearly an entire sock to get them. So that is that. Again, This is the Farmer Daughter Fibers Sock Squad May 2026 in their Bighorn sock base, which is 75% 19.5 merino, 25% nylon in the colorway New Leaf. That's a mouthful, but I am excited for those. Very excited. Okay, now back to some fiber. Renee and Rachel have been getting some scrappies from Wound Up to make scrappy socks. And it goes so fast, you guys. Like, she'll put up a post on Instagram. I'll get a notification, and I'll go in to buy it, and it's gone. I'm like, gosh, this goes so fast. And so one day it was in the morning, I was getting ready for work, feeding the dogs. Notification comes up from Wound Up, and I'm like, I get in there, and already, I think one of them, she has two. She has a warm pack and a cool pack. One was already sold out, and so I got two of the other pack because I'm like, I don't know when this is going to come available again. And incidentally, it's been a while, and I haven't seen them again, but I have enough. So each one, I think, is like 400 grams, each scrappy set. But look how cute those are. It doesn't show in here, does it? So let me just show you some of the colors. So we have like this pretty little blue and green. We have this yellowy green. We have this beautiful color. We have this gorgeous color. This fun color. Let's see. Look at this fun color. Oh my God, look at that. Again, this is Wound Up. Check her out on Instagram. She has all these fun colors. So I have two pretty much identical sets. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to apply that because, you know, a single won't work for socks. So I was like, well, I could spin each of these up into a single and then apply them together. That's one option. I have been debating on how I'm going to do that. And lo and behold, I got my Fiber of the Month Club from Stacy at River Rat Yarns a couple days later. And wouldn't you know it, it was also sock yarn, but a little different. So let me show you. So hers is just in like one braid. So this is, oh gosh, what have I done? Okay, so that is her single that's sock yarn. And I got two of these. And so my thought is, what I could do is at least with one of them, I could just spin this up as a single, just end to end. And then this up as a single, end to end, and then apply those two together. I think that might be fun. And then I have a whole nother batch of the scraps and a whole nother braid of the Stacy yarn that I could just make into their own projects. So I can have, like, there's a lot of options here, mixing and matching. My thought for at least one of them is to make this a single, make this a single, apply them together, and I would have enough for probably 2 or 3 pair of socks out of that. So that could be some nice gift knitting. That would be a really special gift if I were to give that away. I don't know, that'd be a really special gift. I'm kind of selfish with my handspun. Okay, but and then I could take this one, take the other braid from Stacy, and what you do is you split it in half, like mozzarella cheese stick, and then spin up the one side as a single, and then split the other side into 4, and spin that end to end, and then apply those together. That's called a fractal spin. And so I could do that and make this into just a pair of socks. That would be fun. It's a beautiful colorway. I love it. It could be really fun. So that's another option. And then for this one, I think what I might do is split them in into 2 different categories. You know, do the pinks and yellows in one, maybe in the greens and blues in another, and then make it kind of a combo spin where they're just completely different, and then you apply them together. Does that make sense? I don't know. If you guys have any wonderful ideas on what I should do with those, or if you think I'm just totally off base, let me know, because I could be totally off base. I could be totally off base. That is totally possible. Let me know what you think. So as far as plans go, that's my plans for fiber. Now, in the coming days, I'm going to do a video. We're going to start pulling out the rest of my 12 days of Knitmas and make some decisions on what we're going to kind of work through next. So my thought is I'm going to always have one of those projects going forward. Always have one of those projects on the needles, but allow myself a new sock, allow myself a new cast on. So I have like maybe 3 different things in the works, something old, something new, you know, kind of go like that. And so watch for that video. That's going to be coming soon, and I'm going to need your help with that. Now, don't forget about the spring solstice, Cowl. That started March 21st, is running through June 20th, so you still have plenty of time to get in the game. All you need to do is knit up a spring or summer sweater, tee, vest, accessory. I am not picky. Anything goes. Join the Discord group. Post it on the channel. You're entered to win automatically. It is that easy. Discord is a little bit persnickety, so I always have a link down below, but it gets broken super easy. Now, don't feel like you are bothering me. I love getting you in there. It's a fun group, fun ladies. I've learned a lot from them. We have a lot of fun in there. So get your butt in there so that you can have a chance to win a $50 gift card to River Rat Yarn, because they have some fantastic yarn. They have fiber. Stacy has so much available. You don't want to miss out. Guys, I've had so much fun today hanging out with you. I feel like it's been a while, but it was fun going through all my finished objects, all my whips, all my plans. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you never miss an episode, because I have a really special episode coming up next week that we are going to be giving away some special prizes to honor our 5,000 subscriber mark. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of that. You just have no idea what it means to me to have you here each and every week, spending time with me, chatting about all the yarny, fibery goodness in the world. But until next time, happy knitting!